Oh my gosh.
Communication's not a real strong suit
It never
around
has
here
been.
sometimes.
It's happening right now.
The communication happens when it's too late.
All right. Is this hot? Are you working on it?
It's kind of, this is your volume for your headphones. Let
Very
me know when
good.
it gets to a comfortable level.
Yeah, and adjust your mic wherever you need it. It will raise up and wherever it's comfortable. And
I'm going to make sure you can hear me breathing.
yeah, we want
Mouth
that.
breathing.
We want that Neanderthal sound.
Like Kyle's cousin Kyle.
Right.
That's great. I like this audio setup you have. This is nice.
Isn't this great?
Yeah.
I love this thing.
Very cool.
Did you put the new card in?
The new card.
Is it that one?
Dude. Okay, so.
Here's something.
Yeah, no, so.
I think
okay,
I
so
found it.
The new card is in, but we are recording.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, so yeah, okay.
This is going great.
Yeah, this
The
happens.
beginning is always
This
a bit
happens
of
every single time I screw this up. All right. Okay, here's our intro. Ready? Here we go.
All right. Welcome to my dad's movie podcast. I'm Mick Johnson. I'm the dad. And with me, hold on, let me introduce. As always, my son Tabor Johnson is with me. Now you can speak.
Thanks for giving me permission, sir.
Now
Technically,
drop and give me 20.
the podcast is called My Dad's Movie Podcast, but technically it's my dad's movie podcast because he is my dad. So
Yeah. My dad's dead. So.
Yeah.
But we don't go there.
you say that, but we do.
And then we always do every time, don't we?
episode, every single one. We have a special guest.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Becca Chavarria.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Great to be here. I'm so excited to be here and talk about movies and stuff.
Yeah. And as far as I am aware, your dad is still alive.
My dad is still alive.
Oh, can we have
That's
her
true.
on the show?
I don't know if I count.
Special.
We're going to make a special.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the first guest whose father is alive.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here and to represent all living fathers.
Nice.
It was so funny. The first guest we had was Christian Downey.
Yeah.
And he said, "My dad's dead." And Christian Downey goes,
And then I introduced Christian, and the first thing out of his mouth is,
"My dad's also dead." With like that exact same tone, like right up close to the mic.
we weren't expecting.
And he goes, "That's right."
We're twins.
It's like that Jerry Seinfeld joke. We'll be best friends. So
Fantastic.
So, Becca, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So, I guess a big reason why I'm here is that Tabor and I have been friends since elementary school, going back to like second grade or so. Yeah, we've had a friendship ever since, and we've made films together, and I hope to also aid in that process in the future. We'll talk about that, Tabor.
That's right. You were in some Rat's Nest production stuff. I think one of them I saw, I think you were a Karen.
I was a Karen.
Yes.
Yes, that was my small little part.
It was an awesome performance.
Thank you so much. It's really not hard for women to be Karens. I'll speak on behalf of all women.
We're getting political. Getting political.
But yeah, so
In the words of Peter Dinklage, shut it down.
Shut it down. But yeah, most of my work with Tabor on Rat's Nest stuff has been behind the camera, being assistant director, in charge of props, music composition, all the side jobs that need to be done. The administrative stuff is kind of my specialty. I like organizing things and
so
making
you basically
stuff.
kept it going.
Right. I was the reason why those things happened.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tabor's over playing with his camera.
Right.
So,
playing with his camera.
when it comes to being on a film set, Becca is my brain, and Haley is my iron fist. So
That's good.
She's always in that role.
Yeah,
though.
if I need an enforcer, I send Haley.
Nice.
For those of you, this is your first episode. Haley is my sister.
Yeah,
So
my daughter.
We haven't had.
And she's a bulldog.
Yeah,
If anybody knows her, she's
very strong.
She's tough.
Mm-hmm.
She asks for brass knuckles every year for Christmas.
Right.
We never get them for her.
I don't want her opening brass knuckles in my house on Christmas morning.
She really doesn't need them. That's the thing. Yeah.
She just grabs a roll of quarters and just smashes someone in the face.
Dad, I
with
need
it.
to talk to you.
Hey, there's your screenplay. You know, you were trying to do this whole judge angle. That's
You're
your
going to bring up the judge thing again, aren't
We're
you?
not going to bring up the judge.
Okay.
We don't talk about the judge. But that should be your screenplay. Is a daughter is harassed by a bunch of guys. She defends herself, and then of course she's going to get in trouble for it, and so her father does everything to help cover it up.
Ooh.
That's actually kind of cool.
Really cool.
Plus, we get Robert Downey Jr. to play a lawyer in it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
How can you say no to that?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That's right.
I'm picturing. You know why I'm picturing Bryan Cranston?
Because he was in your honor.
Yes.
Yeah. So good.
That's kind of what this is. Did we just judge ourselves again?
I think you just created something that already exists.
We just judged ourselves. All right.
Really need to stop doing that.
Okay. So should we?
So Becca, besides working on Rat's Nest Productions and being friends with Tabor for
Ever.
65 years,
Yeah.
you're also
Our friendship's old enough to retire.
Right. Combined.
You're also a school teacher.
Yes.
Is that right?
I teach orchestra and mariachi at Caldwell High School.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Mariachi. I didn't know about that part of it.
Yeah, that's brand new. That just started this year. So yeah, we're very excited about that. And so yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a good gig. Exhausting, but a good gig.
Nice.
So surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, you've been brought up before in prior episodes.
What?
You've been brought up in the Derek Hayden episode.
Oh my goodness.
And you've been brought up in the Cody Newton episode.
Whoa, Cody Newton
Yeah.
said my name.
No, I said your name, and Cody
Okay.
and Cody Newton said
All
who?
right.
But Derek knew who you were.
Right.
He was like, she's that stand-up, right? He remembers you as a stand-up.
Oh my gosh,
So that's why
funny.
we were talking about you.
Yes.
Because you were
I did
doing
stand up for like a year. Yeah.
and
it
that's
was
how
all
he
right.
remembers you, is
Oh
from
my
doing
gosh.
stand-up. So that's
a
pretty
terrible way to remember me.
Yeah.
No. Oh my goodness. I'm
But-
so sorry, Derek. I'm so sorry.
cool. But we brought you up in the Cody Newton episode because we were talking about this idea that you and I had about the found footage musical that was like the found footage horror movie that was like a musical.
Yes, yeah.
That we kind of thought would be a cool idea.
Right. Still on
But-
board with that,
No,
really.
I'm still on board with it. I think it's a great idea.
Mhm.
Anyway, enough of the found footage musical
Reminiscing.
nonsense. Yeah. We can move on.
So tonight we're talking about the director Robert Eggers,
Yes.
and we're going to get into the Lighthouse and Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Houston Eggers, born July 7th, 1983. He's just a young pup in New York City, American filmmaker. So what do you guys know about Robert Eggers?
Ooh, I did my homework.
holy
Yes.
mackerel, she
yes,
just
I
pulled out
did.
the-
Oh my
I
goodness.
did my
So-
research.
Another 2-hour podcast
Yes.
coming at you.
So what I know about Robert Eggers is that I saw when his first movie dropped, or maybe it is not his first movie, but it was his first mainstream movie, and it was The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a lot of people making jokes about it because it takes place in the 1600s or the 1700s.
About, yeah. Mhm.
And I guess the letter W didn't exist back then, so they used two V's.
That was like the old English.
The old English
kind
version
yeah.
of W was two V's.
Mhm.
So when you look at the cover, it says the Vavitch. and so people were making jokes about that forever. And to this day, I still have not seen that one, which is weird because
Tabor.
everybody says that that's like his best one.
It's so good.
So,
good.
it's definitely on my list. The first Robert Eggers movie I saw was The Lighthouse.
Okay.
So anyway, Becca, since you have notes,
I do
I'll
have
let
notes, yeah.
I'll let you kind of
Yeah, so I tried to venture outside Wikipedia a little bit.
What?
A tiny bit. Look for sources. Yes, something that's big about him is being a designer. And I think this is what makes his movies so visually and aesthetically incredible, is that he really puts a lot of work and study into creating an atmosphere in every single scene of the film. And it's something that he focused on when he was in college. Did a lot of that, a lot of set design, a lot of, costuming, lighting, locations, props, all of those things. And I think that's something that really makes him a fantastic director as well.
So in the film world, the set designer is the one who is in charge of designing the sets.
Okay. That's making sense now. Thank you. Filling me in on that.
Yeah.
In the key grip, they grip the key, I'm assuming.
Speaking of key grips, I was watching what's that movie, Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
And Tom
goodness,
Cruise
yes.
goes, "Who's the key grip?" The guy raises his hand and he goes, "Punch that director."
punch him right in the face.
So that's also what the key grip does.
key grip
He
does it.
punches the director
on command. Yes.
Nice. Well, if it's Tom Cruise telling you to do something,
You do it.
just do
You
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's generally the biggest thing that I got out of like looking into his background. He never knew his biological dad.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
I have that. He didn't know his father.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's his stepdad, his mother's husband, as long as we're explaining things here, who was an English lit professor in Wyoming. And so I would imagine that his presence had a lot of impact on, I don't know, Robert's like
choice of stories.
Yeah. And taste for that authenticity and really good writing.
Because if you notice, his stories are never modern.
Right.
They are always set in the past. They're always set in a quote unquote time period. They are, well, they're a period piece.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way of putting it. He chooses an era and researches that era, to the teeth, and does the set design, the production design, everything just is perfectly exactly how it should be. Talking about the Lighthouse, the way that the characters speak is authentic to the time period, authentic to the region. But, when you think of English literature, none of these stories are written in the 1980s.
Right.
They are, Charles Dickens. All these stories that I only know one guy.
School did you well.
I failed Drexel's class. She was on the podcast recently.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, oh my gosh.
So we're going to bring up Charles Dickens a lot throughout this.
Really?
Is that what we're going to do?
Oh.
Who were you talking about?
Charles Dickens.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you being serious?
No, I'm not being serious.
Oh.
When have you ever known me to be serious?
Oh, hardly ever.
I think we need to do a background deep dive on Charles Dickens right now.
I thought you were going to say do a background check. Turns out the dude is dead.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Can't get a job anywhere.
Nope.
So you guys are talking about like his filmmaking style, right?
Yeah.
And I had read a few things about him, and one of them was he claimed that photographing modern technology disgusts him. He doesn't like doing anything past the 1950s.
Oh, here we go. Let it out, Tabor. Let it out.
I get having a preference for time eras, and I would love to do a period piece. I just don't have the money to do a period piece. But to have the attitude that the modern era disgusts you, that's a little silly to me. I don't agree with that. But he just made Nosferatu and I didn't.
Yeah,
so
he's got the money to make that statement.
Tabor?
Yeah, so who the hell am I?
Oh my goodness.
I'm still trying to get the money for my stop motion Holocaust film. So, I mean.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to cut
what
that.
happened?
I'm just kidding. That was Wes
Put a marker
Anderson.
right there. Right?
Clap. Yeah.
this podcast is going to be, we're introducing Becca, and thanks for listening to the show.
Right?
Everything else is gone.
It's only 10 seconds long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's the Becca keeps her job edit.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I don't get fired from my public job.
Yeah.
Edit.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, with his directing style, and his vision, I feel like Robert Eggers is like, he's perfect for Tim Burton fans who've grown up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
There's kind of this darkness that's now more of a mature edge to it. And
maybe just a hint of maybe insanity's kind of creeping in.
right.
And so they're kind of,
yeah, instead of insanity being represented through like swirly like characters and things like that, it's through implied.
I don't know if it's Tim Burton fans that grew up. I think it's just Tim Burton fans that just smoke a different brand of cigarettes. You know, they're
Right.
ones that smoke American spirits.
There
Like-
you go. Yeah.
Like Aaron Farnsworth. It's the Aaron Farnsworth variety of Tim Burton fans.
Right.
They're like the same like subspecies, but not 100%.
right.
You know what's really funny is we talked about Tim Burton on the Baz Luhrmann episode with Cody Newton.
Did we?
Okay.
You saw Moulin Rouge, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how Baz Luhrmann is like the yin and yang of Tim Burton. So like Tim Burton is this gothic, black and white, creepy, but super stylized director. Baz Luhrmann is this super big, boisterous Technicolor.
Yeah.
So he's like the color version of Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Happy, peppy.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Burton is the depressed, you know.
Right.
I would say that Robert Eggers is, if Tim Burton is bold-faced font, Robert Eggers is italics.
You just reminded me of something. The last podcast, we didn't do a
Rating scale.
rating scale.
I thought about that in the shower
I forgot
today.
all about that in the shower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get ready to hit the bleep button. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. We're going to have to get Derek back in here.
Just to do the rating.
Or call him
Now
up.
get out.
Call him up and be like, hey, we forgot something.
Right.
And because we can call him and have him do it.
And a picture.
Yeah, write that down.
Hold on.
Write that down.
Nice.
What were we talking about?
Robert Eggers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's italics Tim Burton.
Yes. I think something that is really notable too about him is his team that he's had with him on all of his major films. And I'll name them.
Like all the same people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jaron, I'm going to butcher it, Blashka. I'm so sorry.
That's the
if you're
cinematographer, right?
listening. Yeah. Yes. So that's his cinematographer, director of photography.
I was reading about him this morning.
Yeah. And then Craig Lathrop, production design. So visual stuff, right? And Linda Muir, costume designer. Those people have been very consistent with him on all of his huge films. And when you have a team that just creatively is so cohesive, I mean, gosh, yeah, that I would say contributes so much to the success of his films and his visions.
Yeah. I think we
So-
had talked about that on another podcast about how certain directors like to go with the same actors
Right.
a lot of
Mhm.
times because there's a lot of comfort. You know what you've got.
Yep. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really funny is that you almost never see both feet in the same camp. You either have a director who goes with the same actors, but his crew is constantly changing, or you have a director who's working with the same crew and he's got different actors
Right.
and everything.
I would imagine that it's got to be really beneficial to have the same people working on your films over and over. It's almost like a family.
Right.
And then you get to know each other. You know, when Robert Eggers, you know what he likes and how he wants things edited and these types of
Yes.
things. And it's not like we have to go back and figure everything out every movie.
Right. And having to start from scratch
Right.
every single time. Yeah, they can almost get to this point where they can like anticipate what your vision is and anticipate your needs.
Right.
And they work the same way as you do too, which is so excellent. So you don't have to constantly, debrief your crew on what to do. But yeah, it is, super successful. I'm curious about like his relationship with Willem Dafoe, because he's been in 2 of his films. He was in Lighthouse as well as Nosferatu, playing pretty prominent roles. And it seems like they work really well together because Willem Dafoe was excellent in both movies. So I'm curious how that relationship is going to progress forward in the future.
Yeah.
I hope he keeps coming back. That'd be so cool.
And
how old is Willem Dafoe now?
We don't ask that question.
72.
Is
They
he?
say 72. I don't know.
Do we look
We're
at
going to Google it.
So, well,
69.
no, really?
Yeah. Dead serious. He's 69 years old.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Born in 55. That's awesome.
69, but he looks a lot older.
So speaking of working with the same crew, that made me think of Janusz Kaminski, who is Steven Spielberg's longtime cinematographer.
Huh?
And it also made me think of Tim Burton would need to work with the same production designer because every Tim Burton thing looks the same.
Right.
And you would need someone who understands your vision. And if you're changing your production designer,
all the
That's-
time, man.
Yeah. You
That'd be
have
a
to
mess.
keep trying to explain over and over what you want. That'd be so time consuming.
so
Yeah.
this is going to sound like I'm making another joke, but you know what a production designer is versus what a set designer is?
Talk to me, Bubba.
Okay, so the production designer is like the manager, and the production designer is in charge of the set designer, the costume designer, the makeup department.
Okay.
So they are in charge. You have all these other little departments, and they are in charge of one portion of it. But like the set design, the art department, everything is under the production designer.
Right.
But the grip department is entirely in charge of punching the director.
That's all they really do.
That's pretty much it.
That's their main job.
I would love to be a grip on a movie.
Yeah. I don't think it takes
Not-
much, really.
Not on any of my movies.
Please punch your son in the face.
I know. God.
As assistant director.
Christian, I'm going to need more out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a little bit of trivia. So, while attending high school, talking about Robert Eggers now, not me. While attending high school, he actually directed a production of Nosferatu and helped design the set on it.
Yeah.
So he was involved in Nosferatu right into high school.
So that
Right.
seems like an obsession, like a white whale
Absolutely.
that he's been chasing for many, many years.
Right?
Yeah, I was listening to this interview that he did with a different podcast. I'm so
What?
sorry. Yeah, I won't name it.
I
Don't
haven't had a
worry.
chance to have him on yet.
But yeah, he was talking about how he saw a picture, of Nosferatu in a book, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to find this film." And he begged his mom for this movie, and it was, the early 90s. And so it was a lot harder to track VHSs down back then. And it took she ordered it and it took like a month to come in. And since he was a kid, he has just loved the movie Nosferatu. And so, yeah, absolutely. It is this white whale, this just, golden project he's always had his eye on.
That's so weird. I would like to give myself a little more credit that, if I had seen that.
You can do it. Just give yourself credit because we're going to edit it out anyways.
Right.
Edit the credit. I would like to give myself a little credit and think that if I had found a picture of Nosferatu and I got obsessed with that film, that I would wait patiently for the movie to come in, and that when it came in, that I would watch it. But there's also another part of me that thinks that I would put it in, and this silent movie would start playing, and I'd be like, "Oh, geez,
Never mind.
what did I do?
I have to read.
Yeah, I really messed up." I thought this creepy guy was going to say some creepy things. But, you know, if I had gotten like the 1970s version, it probably would have held my attention a little better.
Is that the Christopher Lee one?
No, that's the one with that psycho German dude who no one can work with except Werner Herzog. He's like, Werner Herzog is the only guy who can keep him on a leash. And I think he shot Werner Herzog at one point. He shot somebody.
I think a lot of people want to.
His name is...
When I was going to school, Mom and I took some film classes and a lot of Werner Herzog stuff. Yeah, I think there was probably a lot of people that wanted to take a shot at him.
His name is Klaus Kinski. That's his name. And he was notoriously hard to work with.
He's German?
He is German.
There you go. That's all you had to say.
Notoriously hard to work with, but also notoriously good at keeping paperwork.
Very diligent, very on time.
Yes. Speaking of remakes and reiterations and stuff like that, Willem Dafoe has kind of played Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
He played Max Schreck, who was the guy who played Nosferatu. So it was like a biopic of the making of the original Nosferatu. It wasn't a remake of Nosferatu.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Lighthouse.
All right.
Before we get into Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start. Let's start with the movie everyone watched.
Yeah. So you were talking about set design, and we always get into sound design and stuff. One of the things that I kind of wanted to get Alec in, have him
talk about sound design.
Right. Talk about that.
It's never too late.
That's one of the things that, so these movies, The Lighthouse and Nosferatu, to be quite honest, they're not really my thing. You know, I watched them and I appreciated, you know.
Didn't watch Nosferatu.
I didn't watch Nosferatu. No. But
I think you would have
almost got away with it, Tabor.
Thanks for calling me out on that.
I think you would have liked Nosferatu a lot more. It's a little more mainstream than...
It's got a much more sequential story.
And The Lighthouse is a little more art housey.
Yeah. Anyways, The Lighthouse wasn't my... I mean, I enjoyed aspects of it.
Yeah.
But it's not something that like, hey, let's go to the movies and watch this. I wouldn't enjoy it. You know? But the sound design, the music, the way that he used noises in it, that friggin' foghorn right off the bat.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was like, it keeps pushing me. These noises keep pushing me and pushing kind of my emotion and pushing the intensity. And
it kind of gets you on edge.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're not watching a story. It's almost like you are the third wiki. And you're just kind of like watching your two coworkers just kind of lose their mind.
Right.
You know what?
Well, I started to wonder if I was losing my mind for a little while.
Am I the crazy one? Yeah.
Do you want to know? I've seen this movie twice. This is the second time I've watched it. I watched it the first time as two guys in a lighthouse going crazy. The second time I watched it differently. I watched it as children being left alone in their house while their parents went off to do something.
I love that so much.
And it was a game changer for me. It was so much more relatable. Just imagining me being stuck at the house with my siblings.
Right.
And just me looking at Alec, just going, how long have we been on this rock?
Yeah. How long have we been in this house?
I was honestly expecting a twist at the end where like these, sailors come back and they open up the house and they're like, dear Lord, we were gone 2 days.
Oh man, how insane would that? If like you think it's weeks and it was not even that long at all, they immediately went mad.
But it was really good the way that, because he had me questioning how long have they been there?
Right.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Has it been a short period of time? Because I don't know, Willem Dafoe is just talk about insanity. But he keeps telling the Winslow, how long have you even been here?
Right.
And I don't know, just the whole thing was just like, the reality is, I don't even know. I can't tell from the movie how much time has really passed.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long have mom and dad been gone?
Yeah.
2 hours, 3 days. Afterwards, it's just everything devolves into me beating the crap out of my siblings.
You running around the house with 2 eye patches on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right.
We lose our mind, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was kind of the powerful thing for me that I got out of the whole thing. The story was really hard for me to follow, what was going on. Half the time I had no idea what was happening. I didn't even know if Willem Dafoe was real. Maybe he was made up. And
yes, I thought that too. I was like, I bet he's not even, he's a ghost. He's a ghost.
Right.
It's the Sixth Sense.
But
oops, sorry.
That, oh yeah. The way that they just kept using sound and different sounds and even the music to just kind of keep you going along. Yeah, I thought it was super powerful.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You really felt like you were there experiencing that with them. Yeah. That was pretty incredible. Yeah. All the sounds were really amped up too. Like the sound design was very clever that way, where it was like a main prop in the scene as well as the visual aspects. And yeah, having to live with that foghorn blaring all the time. And you really hear the heaviness of the chores that Winslow has to do just through sound design. And yeah, it wasn't so much watching him shovel like coal and stuff, but hearing him shovel coal and how like exhausting that sounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a fantastic job.
While I was watching, I made a note. I forgot foghorn, pending doom. That's what it was like, is you were just hearing this pending doom that was kind of creeping over them.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The bad luck to kill a seabird.
Oh yeah.
They got the seagulls everywhere, and you just hear them con and stuff like that. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, was just the kind of the antagonism of that one-eyed seagull.
Yes, he was my favorite character.
Tapping on his window.
I
really?
could not stop laughing when he was tapping on his window. I laughed so hard. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. It was just so like, wake up. Right. Hey, jerk, wake up. He
taps on the window, and then he steps out as he sits up and looks.
So
what a jerk bird.
The seagull scene that you laughed at versus the seagull scene that I laughed at are
you
vast.
Laughed at the smashing part.
I'm guessing you're like the bird swinging through the air.
Oh my God.
It's not that he just grabs that bird and gives him like 2 good swings.
No.
It's just that he goes for, I think it was 20 minutes. I think it's 20 minutes of the runtime. He's just sitting there just
half the
beating.
movie is him.
Well, he had Willem Dafoe in his hand. It was the bird, but
oh yeah,
his anger was
exactly. Yes. And what's really funny is that line where he goes, "It's bad luck to kill a seabird." I used to say that to Alec all the time. I used to go, because he says it twice, once normally, and then the second time he screams it and then slaps him in the face.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I would do that to Alec, where I would go, "It's bad luck to kill a seabird." And then Alec, you can like see the hair bristle on the back of his neck, because he's like, okay, he's going to say it twice. He always says it twice. I just don't know when it's coming. And I'd just be driving in the car, and then I'd just turn the radio on, and then we'd pull into the drive-thru at McDonald's, and I'd order something for me to eat, and I'd order something for him to eat. And then we'd pull up to the window.
You'd order for him?
Well, he'd tell me what he wanted.
Oh, gotcha. It's like, you're getting a salad.
Yeah. And then I'd pay for it. And then we would pull out of the drive-thru. And then I'd go, "It's bad luck to kill a seabird," and then scare the crap out of him.
That's awesome.
And he hated it. Next time he's in town, just go, "It's bad luck to kill a seabird."
He will run.
Watch his reaction.
Right. He'll turn around and get back on the plane.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that story, we needed to have a foghorn in the background. Just kind of,
We'll-
going off every
yeah.
now and then.
We'll
Do that
add-
in the edit.
We'll
Yeah.
add that in post.
We'll fix it in post. Gosh. Oh man.
so we should probably talk about the idea of what the lighthouse is about to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What are
people
some
know.
fan theories?
Like
You want to do it?
what the plot of the story is or what it actually means?
No. Yeah, just the plot. The two lighthouse keepers. You know what?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's very simple, straightforward. I mean,
Just say it.
oh. All right. Well,
It's easy.
two men, they're lighthouse wikis. They
Which wikis are men who tend and maintain a lighthouse.
correct. And you can actually hire wikis from Wikipedia.
You can.
Yeah.
You have to go to the original sources.
All right, delete that joke, Tabor.
Get rid of it.
You tried it. It
Okay,
didn't go anywhere. So
Tabor, if you're the one editing this episode, delete that joke. Dad, if you're the one editing this episode, just delete this episode. Just,
delete the whole thing. I need a wiki to tend to our lights.
yeah,
Like change a light bulb.
yeah.
Just to change light bulbs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you would need two. You'd have one person changing the light bulb, and then you would have the other one grabbing binks and just smash it.
Shovel in the coal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The hell are you doing with that coal?
It's
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Right. We don't have coal around here.
Yeah, exactly. So these two men are lighthouse wikis. They are ferried across the ocean. They are on a island lighthouse, not a peninsula lighthouse. So they are they are trapped on this island, and they are supposed to be there for 4 weeks. I think they work in 4-week shifts.
Okay.
And when they get there, Willem Dafoe hogs the light. He is the one who has charged himself with manning the light. And according to the manual, they are supposed to take turns manning the light. And this is causing contention between the two. And they kind of, dislike each other. And you can dislike a coworker that you're stuck with for 4 weeks.
Sure.
But what ends up happening is, turns out it's bad luck to kill a seabird. Winslow takes out his frustration on the seabird, and according to Willem Dafoe's, or his name is Thomas, you find out towards the end of the movie that his name is Thomas. His suspicions are you don't kill a seabird because they are inhabited or like they are spirits of sailors that have been lost at sea.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so when he kills the seabird, it causes the winds to change, causes a nor'easter, as
I love nor'easters.
you're always bringing it up.
Yeah.
Then because the storm changes, their relief is not able to weather the storm, and they are stuck there for quite a while longer.
We think.
Who
We're not really
Right.
sure.
who really knows?
Yeah.
Because what's weird is it seems like the hallucinations from Pattinson,
Mhm.
Robert Pattinson, it seems like the hallucinations kind of start right off the bat.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
hmm
he wasn't even there long enough to go crazy.
Right.
So
It's the minute you clock in, you lose your mind.
Right.
I've been there. I've been there.
We've all had those jobs.
All right, here I go. I'm opening it. Ah,
Me next. Me
Okay.
next. I'm going to put it right here.
nice. That was a good
yeah,
one.
hers was way better.
Yeah.
This episode brought to you by
Shasta.
Grape Crush.
Oh,
Shasta.
He can't read.
that's why I watch movies, man.
I'm not
can't
reading that
watch.
book.
It's why Godzilla made no sense to me.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Yeah, those hallucinations, oh my goodness. Which they kind of do get explained a little bit later. Are we allowed to fully we're allowed to give away spoilers. Okay.
You can say whatever you want.
They know what they're
good.
getting into.
They know. Okay. Yeah, because it was his past life of being responsible for the death of his like logging
Spoiler alert.
coworker.
Nice.
So,
All right, cut that.
what did I do wrong?
We did nothing wrong.
Hey, few good men
I'm
reference.
bringing it back.
Very nice.
Now
very
would be a
nice.
good time to call Derek and get his rating for.
By the way.
That's right.
Sorry, you were saying.
No. Plagued by the past. Yeah. So, and clearly, like, this is something
So he was a little
yeah.
crazy right from the beginning,
already.
just because of the stuff he had
and
done
he
before.
like stole that dude's identity, and
That's right.
Yeah.
That wasn't really who he was.
right. And so he was already running from stuff. He had demons already.
He is not Winslow.
That's right.
He's not Winslow.
he's
His name
Tommy.
is Tommy.
Something.
Tommy Johnigan.
And Willem Dafoe was
That's
Thomas, right?
Thomas.
Yeah.
His name is not Tommy Johnigan. I think that's a stand-up comedian. I don't know what his last name was. I just made that up.
who are we talking about? Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
Thomas
Tommy-
Howard.
Thomas Howard.
I knew it was a
Yeah.
basic
Willem
white
Dafoe,
guy
Thomas
name.
Wake.
Thomas Wake. Dude,
Yeah.
that sounds like a lighthouse keeper name.
Yeah.
Man.
Thomas Wake.
Yeah.
Thomas Wake.
So, you know what's really funny? Well, it's not funny. It's just an interesting fact. I always say the line, especially to my cats, why'd you spill your beans, Winslow? And that is the line from the trailer. That's not the line in the movie.
No.
In
yeah.
the movie, he says, why'd you spill your beans, Tommy? So they changed it for
Oh,
the
really?
trailer
Oh.
so that
It's
it doesn't
not
spoil that his
giving
name
anything
is.
away.
Oh, yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Good to the advertising.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome.
And for people who maybe haven't seen the movie, when he says spilled your beans, he's referring to they get really drunk. They
Like,
get
all the time.
really drunk.
Yeah.
Not all the time. just towards the end.
Well, there gets a point where Pattinson, he doesn't drink at all.
Right.
But then kind of towards the middle of the movie, okay, I'll
He
go ahead and
starts-
I'll have a drink.
He starts sipping.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, it's just full blown drinking
Nice
from then on.
commentary on alcoholism
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Towards the end, when he's just absolutely wasted, that's when he decides to, tell the truth to
Spill the beans,
to
so
spill
to
the beans
say.
to Thomas Wake.
Spill your guts.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That he is actually not Ephraim Winslow, that he is Tommy von Hammersmark.
What
Let's
the
go
heck
with-
was his name?
Let's go with Tommy Howard.
Tommy Howard.
Tommy Howard. Yeah. It was interesting watching the drunk scenes. There was a couple of them for the whole time I was watching it. I was just like, gosh, I think this movie did really well because that was how people reacted to COVID, being stuck in their
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah. It came
Eventually
out, I
turning
think-
to turpentine because they ran out of booze.
Did it come
you
out
know.
before COVID or during COVID?
That's a great question.
I remember it being really like almost neck and neck with COVID.
Oh, it's 2019.
2019 is when it came out.
Man.
See? It was like he was predicting it.
I know. Isn't
you
that
know?
crazy? Because you don't make a movie in 2019 and release it in 2019. You start making a movie in 27. Robert
Yeah.
Eggers starts making a movie in 2016,
Early. Yeah. Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So,
He knew.
yeah.
He knew something we didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the
right?
conspiracy theories flow.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the mermaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so curious because
Before we talk about the mermaid, I'm going to pause this real quick. I'll be right back.
so I can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just singing.
You should just sing the whole movie.
I'm gonna sing all of my
All your-
commentary. I'm
Sing
not even gonna talk
Unless
at
she
all.
breaks out the cello.
Yeah.
a cello rendition of
Cello interpretation of the lighthouse.
the lighthouse. And so you were singing about mermaids.
I was. Unfortunately, they didn't get to hear my song, but maybe that's okay.
I got a little bit of it.
Oh, good. Yes, mermaids. There were mermaids in the lighthouse. Not in the lighthouse, but in this movie. That'd be amazing if they were in the lighthouse.
Actual mermaids in the lighthouse sounds like a missed Ghostbusters opportunity.
It also sounds like an indie band name.
Ooh.
Mermaids in the Lighthouse. New band name, I call it.
Yeah. I like mermaids. Well, I like their first album.
And then they kind of just went mainstream after that.
The rest of it's garbage.
After they lost the drummer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then the vocalist and guitarist started dating. It was really weird.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about, but I'm just going to add to it.
Yeah.
That's the point of riffing. You're doing it. Good job.
Good job, Dad. You're riffing.
That's the new name of the podcast. Riffin' Dad.
Riffing with Dad.
Riffin' Dad. Isn't that the lyrics for a Devo song?
Devo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mom likes Devo. I do not.
Oh, you don't like Devo?
Nah.
I freaking love Devo.
I
Yeah.
just know their one song. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. If you know their one song, it's because you don't know their 50 songs.
Right. A mainstream.
That was deeper in my head.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
So we're talking about The Lighthouse.
Yes.
Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They did such an awesome job.
Yeah.
Their characters, it was just insane.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And, the only thing I ever knew Robert Pattinson was what's the one where he's like a wolf or something?
Wrong.
Vampire.
A vampire. I don't know
Twilight, the Twilight series.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
not
yeah.
true.
Even he hates Twilight. That's
Yeah.
the best part is
Okay,
that he
that's true.
That's
poops
the only
all
thing I
over it.
knew about him.
You knew him from Harry
Mhm.
Potter.
Oh yeah, he was in Harry Potter.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was in the
As-
fourth one.
My boy! No, my son!
I don't remember it.
Oh, he dies.
Oh. Anyways, so yeah, but seeing him in this, and I know he did a Batman.
Yes, he was the Batman.
Oh, and there's another one I want to watch called like Mickey 17 or something like
yeah,
this. Some,
that looks
Yeah,
great.
I want to watch Mickey 17 really
Yeah.
bad.
so
He was in Tenet.
Anyways.
You saw Tenet?
yeah,
Or,
I did.
or is it Tenet?
Tenant.
I think it's Tenet.
Anyways,
Things
this
no end.
I really I like him, and I really liked this character. I liked the way that he presented it and stuff, and it was just so bizarre though. Everything was so bizarre. It was so hard for me to stay on track because it was such a mind thing, So we're talking about the Mermaid. So
Which, speaking of bizarre, that's weird.
the Mermaid,
Yeah, that's certainly a weird
On topic,
portion.
we're
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much, I don't even know where he was hallucinating at and where reality was at, or if the entire thing was just one great big hallucination type thing. Because at one point, he's looking at Willem Dafoe up in the lighthouse. He sees, I'm assuming it's like some sort of,
Like squid.
yeah.
Or kraken.
He
I bet
turns,
it's a kraken.
he turns into a squid type thing. Right. And so then I'm like, well, is he a monster? Did he turn into a squid, or is Pattinson the whole thing is just insane?
I think he sees Thomas Wake as the monster.
Oh, okay.
I think the only thing that's actually real is Willem Dafoe. His accent is not. That's fake.
Willem Dafoe's accent was fake.
That's not real.
It's true, that pirate accent. That's not how he talks in real life.
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of faking the pirate accent, that's actually brought into question in the movie where he's talking about he's bringing in his ship experience and his like captain experience into
Right.
question. Like is any of that real? Are you just lying to me? So that's kind of an interesting.
So actually, in the original script, it says that Thomas Wake was supposed to have a glass eye, a peg leg, and missing 3 fingers, but they decided to bag all of that because Eggers didn't want the audience to misinterpret him as a pirate.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I thought he did have a peg leg,
He had a messed up leg.
yeah, I
Oh.
think he said that he had a peg leg, but I don't
but
know
it
that
wasn't actually.
I don't think he actually had one. Did he?
I thought he just injured his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he did have a leg problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, these mermaids, you guys, I really want to talk about these
Okay,
mermaids.
go to the mermaid.
So yeah. Yes. Well, first of all, Mick, I want to hear because you said you had something about these mermaids that
Oh.
you dug up. I want to hear what that is because I have my own interpretation and it's very dirty. So I would love to hear your interpretation first.
Uh-oh.
We might have to edit mine out.
So actually, mine wasn't an interpretation of the mermaid. I thought the mermaid, it was very interesting having the mermaid, during the storm, laying in the rocks and stuff. And but actually, what I was going to say was the mermaid carving that he had. that was actually auctioned off by A24 and sold for $110,000. That little carving.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
A24 has so many creative ways of getting money for their movies.
That's
so many creative ways of getting money back from their movies. They auction off so many of their props and pieces of their set. They have all sorts of cool things. Like you can even buy a hard cover, like a hardback cover script of the Lighthouse.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
It's all screams, but like it's pretty nice.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah. So for me, to be honest, I don't even know what to think about the Mermaid. Because one thing I struggled with is I didn't know, is the mermaid real?
Right.
Or is the mermaid, is he out at the rocks and there's not actually a mermaid there? And is this in his head? I think at one point, doesn't he have sex with a mermaid?
Right.
Well, so what's going on there?
Right.
There's 3 different hallucinations. They're all Robert Pattinson's hallucinations. Thomas Wake doesn't have any. The mermaid, the real Winslow, and the squid, the monster.
Okay.
And all 3 of these hallucinations are symbolic representations of why he ends up going mad.
Mm-hmm.
So the mermaid is a hallucination, a representation of his pent-up sexual frustration, which you're going to have when you're one of 2 guys trapped on an island.
Sure. Maybe.
The other hallucination is Winslow, the real Winslow, which is the representation.
Now let me ask you, did he kill Winslow, or did he just not do anything to prevent Winslow from dying?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing, because what we hear is that Winslow died and there was nothing he could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an unreliable narrator.
Mm-hmm.
We can't trust a word he's saying.
True.
He could have killed Winslow, but what he told, I mean, we're having to take what he says at face value. I would imagine that that's the truth, because he did drop a lot of truthful information. Why would you stop at 99%, especially if you're drunk? So I think it's truthful, but it could be open to interpretation that maybe he's not being 100% truthful.
You know, he's seeing, or I mean, he's really struggling. If this is what it is all of these hallucinations are kind of coming from this psyche of his, if it's broken or what's going on. If he didn't kill Winslow and he just kind of stood by and let Winslow go under, between the logs, does that really break you that bad? That I don't know. I mean, I could see maybe a little more if he had a hand in getting rid of Winslow, maybe because didn't he say he didn't really like him or something at one point?
I don't think letting Winslow die would have as much effect on you as letting Winslow die, not feeling bad about it, and then taking his identity.
Yeah, he did take his identity.
Mm-hmm.
But why did he do that? He wanted to start over? I mean, why did he do that?
He mentioned that Winslow...
We got to get back to the mermaid also, because I really want to hear that.
Okay, so I'll finish up what I'm saying about the 3 hallucinations. So Winslow is the representation of his guilt, and then the monster is the representation of the hatred he has towards Willem Dafoe. And these 3 things, the sexual frustration, the guilt, and the hatred towards his boss, just are too much for this man to handle. And he just loses his mind and goes crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And kills a seabird.
Nice.
Okay, mermaid.
Actually, no birds were harmed in the making of the movie.
That's right. I do have interesting factoids about those seabirds, but I will get to them later. But yeah.
After the mermaids.
After the mermaids. Yeah. So with the mermaids, something that I find that is very common in Robert Eggers' films is he likes to be very human, and even down to the animalistic sense, where he represents or like he tries to depict very human responses and emotions, like I said, on a kind of animal level. And so that repressed sexuality is something that comes up often as a theme or like a sub theme in his films. And this one in Nosferatu, that's like almost the entire film. And and I think mermaids have always represented that, even in like sea culture
and folklore.
Folklore,
Yeah.
that's a better word, not sea
Yeah,
culture.
sailors trapped at sea.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so even a walrus will
they
look
represent what, like sexuality?
Yeah.
They represent
Or the lack of it.
the lack of
That's why sailors see mermaids when they're out at sea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you heard that that's actually what the theory of what mermaids was just these sailors just absolutely hallucinogenic and seeing manatees flipping out of the water?
And praying it was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly, yeah. That's what they think the theory is.
Huh.
Yeah. And and even throughout the lighthouse, other than the mermaids, there are kind of, I don't know, maybe it's me and maybe it's because I'm in my 30s and have a dirty mind, but I found that there was quite a bit of sexual tension kind of throughout. Obviously there's those scenes where Robert Pattinson goes to the shed and demoralizes himself, as they say in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also, there was this scene where they both got really wasted. You know what I'm talking about.
And they start dancing.
Yeah, and they start dancing and just like they become very physically close. And I was like waiting for it. I'm like, oh, it's gonna turn Brokeback in a minute. Oh
and
my
then
gosh,
they start beating the crap out of each other.
Right. They became they were aware and like, oh darn it, I'm straight, and start throwing punches. They took out that frustration and
and I think there's one point where like Willem Dafoe's laying in
bed and
he's laying in his arms. And it's almost like he's stroking his hair and they're talking. And it's like,
there was, so it's like, I guess when you're alone and you kind of, humans do need like that physical touch to a degree, we're very social animals. And so, when you've got two guys stranded on a rock, it's gonna get weird. So, I do appreciate though that Robert Eggers' Mermaid showed us how that is possible with a human physically. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it was nice to see. It's like, oh, that's how it would work. Thank you, Robert Eggers. I had no idea.
It came to that part of the movie and I'm like, I'm going to have a talk with Ray because that's getting to be a lot.
That's a bit much. Yeah. So seagulls. Do you want to hear the cool facts about the seagulls in this film?
I want to hear nothing about seagulls I want to hear nothing but seagulls. Nothing but seagulls for the next 20 minutes.
In Nosferatu, there are also seagulls, and I'm just kidding. Yeah. Seagulls. So something that was really cool, because obviously seagulls were like a very huge motif throughout the film. They were, and they were just like how do we wrangle seagulls? Nobody knew what to do about that. So one of their executive producers, Chris Columbus, who was the director of the first two Harry Potter films.
No way.
I'm dead serious.
Okay.
Yeah. He got in touch with their owl guy that they used for Harry Potter and called him up, and they got, as Robert Eggers describes, classically trained seagulls to participate in the film. They had to...
That makes more sense than where I thought it was going.
Where was your brain going with that?
I don't even want to say because you guys are going to make fun of me.
That's the whole point.
We won't make fun of you.
I was
This
thinking
is a safe place.
it's not. I know for sure it's not.
Just say it.
That they were going to talk to the owl guy, and then they were going to paint owls to look like seagulls.
Okay.
Because it looked different on film.
You were right.
Exactly.
You were right all along. We are going to make fun of you.
But and so it was really cool. So they got these, but they had to film the seagulls on green screen. They couldn't actually do it in the scene because of like the wind and the actors, and so the birds were really sensitive. So they had to have the birds filmed with those particular
that seagull. I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if one of them had a little mini seagull right next to it. That's a Marlon Brando reference. What was the film?
The island. Before you got in here, we were talking about the island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, Marlon, have you seen that?
Uh-huh.
Marlon Brando's
Long
in
time
it,
ago.
and he has that little guy that's always following him around. That guy's not in the book. That guy is not in the script. Marlon Brando insisted that that little guy was in the movie and that he have all the same costumes as him, and that if this little guy was not in the movie, he would walk.
Was he real?
Yeah.
He was a real little person.
He was a real little guy.
Oh,
And he doesn't, I don't think he has any lines. I think he just follows him around everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, these seagulls are so demanding.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had to be like CGI'd into those scenes, but they were real.
If I'm going to do the scene with Robert Pattinson, I want to make sure that I have another little seagull with me. And if I'm going to have one eye, I want to make sure that he only has one eye. He's got to look the same as me.
That's pretty impressive that they were classically trained. So was that like Juilliard or something?
Right, I think Oxford maybe. Like, yeah, it was pretty impressive. You don't get classically trained seagulls anymore. They're all these like postmodern, uppity.
Where'd you get your degree? CWI. Okay.
Oh yeah. See, now all the seagulls come from Full Sail University.
Yeah. So really good kudos for them. That was pretty great.
So we got seagulls.
Oh, yeah.
We got mermaids.
Hershey's chocolate syrup.
We do.
Hershey's chocolate syrup. That's what was coming out of the water pump.
That's what I had to tell myself. I was like, "That's oh my gosh."
Yeah, that was really
I'm so
gross.
glad I was not eating.
Speaking of another gross but humorous moment, another favorite scene of mine is when he's walking with those chamber pots and he throws it in the wind.
He throws it into the wind.
Yeah. Blows it right back into his face.
Oh gosh, because who hasn't been in that situation? You know, throwing out.
It happens all the time here when I'm changing our chamber pots. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just if you're not smart about the direction of the wind, man, it gets you. It gets you every time. By the way, speaking of like gross stuff, there were so many farts that I was really expecting. I was expecting like an accreditation for whoever provided those farts because there were so many. Yes. There had to be
I think that was Willem Dafoe, and it wasn't in the script.
Yeah.
It's just what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And it was great because Robert Eggers was talking about those farts and he's just like, yeah, you should laugh. Like, that's the whole point. Because, like, there's these people, you know, who watch his movies very seriously. And they're just like, what do I do about this fart that's happening in this very dramatic moment? You laugh.
Yeah. So
farts are funny.
Go with it.
I tell this story a lot. This is probably actually, I think this is the first time I've mentioned it on the podcast. Actually, my buddy Bubba, he's a engineer.
Bubba.
Yeah. And he very smart guy.
That seems weird. Bubba the engineer.
Yeah.
Shout out
Those
to Bubba.
two things don't go together.
Yeah, he's got an engineering degree and a business degree.
That's awesome.
The guy is super smart. But he took a theater class, I think as an elective. I think he had to take it. Mm. And so he was there for, I don't think he wanted to be there, but he had to be there.
Sure.
And at the end of the semester, the professor was asking, his students, he goes, you guys can ask me any question you want. I don't care what the question is. It could be related to this course. It doesn't have to be related to this course. I will answer it to the best of my ability. No question is off the table. And so you get all these people that are asking theater questions, and they're the theater majors. And then you get these people that are asking like deep philosophical questions, and they're kind of people who want to know, how this guy ticks. And then you got people that are just asking all sorts of just off-topic questions. And then one person raises his hand, and he calls on him, and he goes, "Are farts funny?" And the professor does not, dismiss the question. He said he would answer any question.
Sure.
Right.
So he sits there and he like crosses his arms and he thinks about it and he genuinely like is putting some thought into what his answer is going to be. And then from the back of the lecture hall, everyone starts laughing and he just goes, there you go.
Yes.
There's your answer.
Yeah. we answered that firsthand.
Was it Bubba?
I don't think it was Bubba, but he was there for it.
I've never met anyone who didn't laugh at a fart. Like, I don't care who you are. Farts are funny.
Well, that's fun around there.
I'm glad Mom's not out here right now.
Yeah. No, she's not a fan. Ooh, Larry the Cable Guy in the Lighthouse. Hey, how long you suppose we've been on this here rock?
Right.
We're going to cut that.
I'm going to go up to the lighthouse. You go to the chamber pot and get her done.
And it's him and Willem Dafoe. Like,
both. Oh my gosh.
Polar opposites.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness. Oh, that's crazy.
Man, what a strange movie that would be.
Yeah, that would really make you think
Larry
like,
the Cable Guy and
this
the
one
Rock.
messed you up.
That's what it should be.
And
Larry,
The Rock
Larry
with
the
Kevin
Cable
Hart.
Guy and Jeffrey Jones. I can see those working really well.
Oh my gosh.
You're talking about
Beautiful.
Rooney from
Rooney, yeah.
from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Larry the Cable Guy and Rooney.
Oh man,
I
Rooney.
would love to see that. That'd be great.
I don't know. Rooney's been in some trouble.
Has he? Uh-oh.
But
I'm out of the loop.
I think maybe the trouble he's been in would fit right in, to this crazy.
Oh, that's the problem.
Rooney
Is that it would work.
takes the persona of Winslow to escape his past.
Oh,
Right.
dang. Oof. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we don't talk about Rooney
Yeah, we
Got
don't
it,
talk
got
about
it.
Jeffrey
We're gonna
Jones,
move on.
so
Yeah.
don't bring him up.
Gotcha.
like we do every episode. It's going to be a blast when we talk about Ferris Bueller and Howard the Duck.
I'm not sure I'm going to talk about Howard the Duck.
That movie was crazy.
I don't know if I can do that. So I wanted to ask about the ending, but
Yes.
before I do that, there was a couple things I was curious about. I loved the look of the movie in that it seemed almost black and white,
Mhm.
but I don't think it was black and white, was it?
It
Weren't they
was
using
shot
something?
in black and white negative. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, I thought you were being.
No, I'm not being silly. So I thought maybe they were using some sort of lens. Like I had read about a cyan filter.
Schneider lens.
Is that what it is?
No. That's a video.
Okay. Most
We
of the
don't know,
film-
Tabor. When you make those
See,
jokes,
you see that?
we're on the outside.
You
okay?
see that picture of the horse right there? Yeah. Look, nice and crisp. Beautiful horse. Actually, I'm being told that's a moth. My producers are telling me that's a moth.
Yeah, I do know that was it. It was shot in black and white negative. He said they had to shoot the seagulls, which were CGI'd in color, though, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why. Maybe because of the
Because of the green
CGI
screen.
stuff. Yeah.
The green screen.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm bringing up the lens. There's actually two lenses I wanted to ask you about.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
So there's the cyan filter to replicate orthochromatic film, which I was curious about. And then the other one was called a Petzval lens, which was designed around 1840. And they said that was the opening shot with the boat. So I was wondering about those two.
So that is not at all what I thought you were going to say.
No.
So you said the filter that was on there.
Right. Is the filter what was... So you're saying it was filmed in black and white. What was the filter for?
So even though it's shot in black and white, they have warm filters and they have cool filters. So when you put it on color film, it makes your film look a little more orange if you put the warm on. And it makes your film look a little more blue if you put the cool on. And it's very noticeable with color film. But with black and white film, it does have a subtle.
It's going to give some sort of effect.
Yes, it's going to have a more subtle look. You might not notice it, but it will have a subtle look to it. And it sounds like they have some old, very, very old lenses that they were trying to match. And the closest way to do that was to find the oldest vintage lenses that they could and put that filter on there. And that was the closest way to match it. I thought you were going to say that they shot on the super Baltar lenses. Does it say anything about that?
I didn't read Baltar lenses.
Because I know that Nosferatu was shot on super Baltar.
Okay.
And the reason those stick out to me is because that's what The Godfather was shot on.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm just like, I got to get my hand on a set of those lenses.
So are you familiar with a Petzval lens?
I'm not, but I'll Google it so I can get a little more information.
Nice. Anyways, so the ending. I was totally, I didn't know what was going on. So
okay.
He ends up naked, laying in the rocks.
Yes.
With the seagulls eating him.
Yes.
What happened? How did we get there?
Happened. Yeah, no kidding. This is I made a really crazy connection to that ending, and it's absolutely insane. Have you guys ever heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident at all?
No.
Okay.
That sounds very familiar. Like I've heard of it in the last 3 weeks.
Ooh.
So
okay.
refresh my memory.
Yes. So it's this group of Russian hikers that, they went climbing this insane mountain for fun, because that's what you do in Russia for fun.
Because they were going to get their super explorer badges.
That's right.
That's literally a thing in Russia. Like you can mark it off on your thing and you get like this badge, and they were going to have like this little thing that they can carry around with them. And so they wanted to find the hardest mountain that they could climb.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was they did not return. And
I like the sound effect.
Thank you. That's how I think. I just make mouth noises. But yeah, they did not return. Their bodies were found by a search team. They were all naked. They were quite a bit a ways from their tent. A couple of them had their tongues ripped out.
Each man's hand was in the next one's pants.
Yeah. And were promptly asked to leave.
Little Blair Thumb reference for you.
Reference.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah. But yeah, and there's a bunch of other crazy stuff. Like they were all emitting like a certain amount of radiation and just a lot of insane things. And so people are like, oh, it was probably aliens, or it was Yeti, or it was they stumbled upon like a secret Russian weapon site or something, and so they got killed, executed. Anyway,
that one sounds believable.
Yeah. I was like, I can see that. That's the most plausible one. But there's also this theory that when you get hypothermia, there's this, I forgot what the condition is called, but your body feels like it's on fire.
Yeah, you take, I do know about that. You want to start taking clothes off.
Right, because you feel like you're burning up, but that's actually your body like shutting down and stuff like that. And so I made that connection when I saw the ending of The Lighthouse. Not necessarily, he could have gotten hypothermia. They were like, their house was like destroyed and he was wet and stuff like that. But it was definitely this like, he went insane sort of thing. But there's a part of me that wants to believe something paranormal happened, that he went and he accessed this light. And it was incredible, and it was so overwhelming.
That was the other thing. Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, just before he goes out and he's naked and laying out, getting eaten by seagulls, what's the deal with? Because I was thinking I was thinking some sort of paranormal thing also, where he goes up and he's looking at the light, and the light stops like it's alive.
Yeah.
And then it opens up.
Right.
And it
opened up by itself.
And
it
burns his eyes out, and he falls down the stairs and stuff. And so I'm thinking, okay, is he hallucinating this? Is there some sort of paranormal thing going on with the light? Here, get rid of him.
That That was great.
That was a warning shot, Binks.
Whoa.
I didn't even shoot him. I just shot the wall, and he was like, "Oh, geez."
So, what's your interpretation of what's going on with the light when he finally gets to see it?
I think it's haunted. I really do. And I only say this because there's all these crazy things happening, but there's clearly something up with the lighthouse. That's why Willem Dafoe refuses to let him see the light.
He won't let him up there.
Would not. And I think it's a paranormal reason. I think it's kind of like a being possessed by this light sort of a thing. Because I think this story really is meant to be a ghost story. I know that was something that Robert, so I don't know if you guys know about, I don't know if we've talked about this, but like at the inception of this story, of the script, actually came from Robert Eggers' brother, Max, who had this idea of like a lighthouse ghost story. Max kind of gave up on it because he really couldn't think of anything good. And so Robert was like, hey, can I mess around with it and see what I can come up with? And then he comes up with this film.
Huh.
And it had this original intention of being a ghost story of some kind. And so I kind of want to believe that he did put in small elements to make that the case.
Well, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
All through the whole thing, it kind of seemed like there was something more to it than just this guy's going crazy. And
it's kind of beautiful because like in, ghost situations, I'm sure we've all had situations like this where we've either seen paranormal stuff or someone's told us about it. But like there's always like skeptics, right? Who are just like, oh, this is easily explained by blah, 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 which is so present in this movie. It's like, oh, this dude just has a mental illness or like he's just going crazy. Even though we do see things that are unusual and unnatural. I think we're meant to kind of be a bit skeptical, but also not really know the answer. So that's my take.
I'm one of the skeptics. I think he's crazy. What's really funny is I went back to my own little personal Tabor analogy in my head where it's the kids home alone while their parents are gone and the kids are going mad and the older brother's playing the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And the little brother wants to play the Nintendo 64 and he goes, I'm the one who plays the Nintendo 64. You do your thing. You do the chores. I'm in charge of the Nintendo 64. Mm-hmm. And then he goes mad.
And then
he kills a seabird.
And then the Nintendo 64 opens up on its own.
It turns on by itself, and you start screaming.
I want to shoot a remake of this now, just like a short little 10-minute remake of The Lighthouse with just kids losing their minds.
It's being done with children.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else on that one?
I think, that's all I've got to say about The Lighthouse.
Cool.
That's all I've got to say about that.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Cool.
Nice job.
So we want to rate this movie now, or we want to wait till we've talked about the other one? After.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. All right.
Nosferatu.
Okay.
I love Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
He's just awesome.
Yes,
Who was an entirely different character in this movie. I mean, yes, it's a different movie. So he is a different character. But it was so crazy seeing him go from just Pennywise the dancing clown. And it's so weird how he, like, you need a hot blonde guy. You go get Alexander Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need an old European guy who has wisdom beyond his years. You go get Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
You need somebody who's going to be different every time and just absolutely off the chain crazy. You go get Bill.
Yeah.
It is so crazy is that Bill has not been, well, I don't know. Maybe he's been typecasted. Maybe we've typecasted him now as some weird, crazy monster person. The voice that he does is incredible.
Yeah, that voice is so cool because it is not digitally altered at all. And he worked with this Icelandic opera singer so that he could work on increasing his range to lower as low as he could get.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, he really took that very, very seriously.
I think Nicholas would like that information.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he was probably getting paid a lot of money to do it. So
also, full disclosure, I got an hour in before I realized I was watching Renfield, and I had to start over.
Shut up.
Almost the same cast. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to.
That reminds me, though, when I went to watch The Lighthouse, not to go back to The Lighthouse, but when I went to watch The Lighthouse, I pulled it up on some obscure, thing on my computer.
Yeah.
Where to watch it. And I pulled it up and I'm watching The Lighthouse. And I'm probably 10, 15 minutes into The Lighthouse. And there's nobody I recognize. I don't see Willem Dafoe. I don't see Pattinson. And I'm thinking, it says The Lighthouse. What the hell am I watching right now? Was there another version of The Lighthouse? Like an older version of The Lighthouse?
Maybe just those
You were supposed to watch The Lighthouse 2019, and I think you watched The Lighthouse 2018.
Is that what it was?
I think you were a year or two early.
Yeah. Or it was just those YouTube videos, 10 hours of a lighthouse.
10 hours of yeah. It's just like rain sounds and you hear seagulls and just... I could fall asleep to that. And just... maybe not that. It's just like every once in a while, it's like quiet and you'll just hear in the background, it's bird luck, they're gonna see bird. Just someone screaming in the background.
It's in the wind. Yeah. We need to make the lighthouse ambient.
I'm just like right about to fall asleep. Why did you spill your beans, Winslow? I would wake up and never go back to sleep.
And then we'd find you out in the yard naked with seagulls.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny that I spent 15 minutes watching not the Lighthouse movie. Yeah. Thinking it was The Lighthouse.
That's
cool.
Great.
All right. I got my Tabor watched the wrong movie this week joke out of the way.
So the premise of Nosferatu, what's it about?
So, it is based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it is not, for copyright reasons, It
is not Dracula.
It is not Dracula.
Nosferatu is actually German for not Dracula.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so Dracula that I think they got sued anyway.
I think they did. The original Nosferatu for sure did.
I think they did. Like, they were just like, hey guys, it's not Nosferatu. It's like, I'm not hitting you. Yeah, but you're hitting me with my own arm and I'm not liking it. So
it's like the Robin Thicke and Marvin Gaye controversy. Yeah. That copyright thing. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good old Thick V Gay.
Yeah. Sorry. Why did that make me laugh? Why? Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Okay. Oh man. So anyway, it's this basically he's the living dead. Our Nosferatu character, whose name is Count Orlok. Yes, I think I said that right. This version of Nosferatu actually focuses around our female protagonist. It's really told mostly quite a bit from her point of view. Played by Lily Rose Depp.
Is the other Nosferatu more from Renfield's point of view?
I think
so
Renfield.
So I know you think I'm making a joke, but so Nicholas Hoult is in this movie. He's in Nosferatu, but he's also in Renfield, which came out last year. But the character that he plays in Nosferatu is
the same character.
It's the same character. He's literally the please don't sue us version of Renfield. So he played Renfield and then a year later played Don't Sue Me Renfield. Yeah. It's insane. I mean,
absolutely the same. I don't even think he had to memorize lines.
He just had the same lines over again. Just say
They
this again.
repurposed. Yeah.
Okay, so you've heard of the Hear Me Out cakes?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
this is a Hear Me Out cake, but like for like casting.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage as Count Orlok.
I think, yeah,
We
you
just
would give Bill
redo the-
Skarsgård a rerun.
We
for
just
it.
do the same movie over again, just with a different director.
Ooh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. And then you have Renfield. It's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Anyway, and so Lily Rose Depp basically, so when she was a young child, her character's name is Ellen. And when she was a young girl, she struggled with not relating to anyone around her. She was born with kind of a spiritual insight that other people don't have. And it basically, which back then and in that culture translated to "you're crazy." And so she was alone, she was lonely, and so she kind of called out to the ether for some relief from that loneliness. She prayed to angels, she prayed to whoever would listen, which also that summons demons, you guys. When you're not specific and you ask for help in your prayers, you got to make sure you headline it with
It's a monkey's paw.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Got to be
Otherwise,
careful
Bill
with you.
Skarsgård shows up.
Exactly. And not the handsome Bill Skarsgård, the dead, decaying
It's
one.
a roulette wheel. You don't know
Yeah.
which one's going to show up.
Right. So you got to be really specific. So she wasn't. And so that is where it kind of like opened this door to Count Nosferatu, Count Orlok, making this connection with her. And he had spiritual / physical relations with her. And so that kind of bound them together. And yeah, and so she kind of suffered with this curse of being attached to him. But then when she married her husband, played by Nicholas Hoult,
Nicholas Renfield Holt.
Nicholas, he should just change his name. Yeah, when she married him, those night terrors that she was having about Nosferatu slipped away.
She thought she was going to be able to have a normal life.
Yeah, but then he gets called away kind of on purpose to go on this, like, what was it, 2 weeks or something like that, to talk real estate with
Quote unquote.
Yes.
Real estate. Wink, wink.
with Count Orlok.
Yeah.
And with him being separated from Ellen, she starts to get that connection going again and starts to get attacked at night. And she starts to have spasms, and she really looks like she's going through demonic possession.
Oh, she does such a good freaking job in this movie.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I really was like, she got possessed. She's a method actor.
She did such a good job.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And that's the problem of the story, is like, how do we get rid of this Nosferatu and all of that stuff? And so that's basically it, without revealing. I mean, we will talk about the ending, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So
that's the
Bill
premise.
Skarsgård, I guess originally he was cast for the Nicholas Hoult character.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I had no
me find,
idea.
Bill Skarsgård originally cast as Thomas Hutter.
Yeah.
However, during the film's long pre-production, director Robert Eggers decided to recast Skarsgård as Count Orlok instead. In an interview with Skarsgård, Eggers stated that he felt the recasting was to make the sexual subtext between Orlok and some of his victims more convincing.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense, because Bill Skarsgård's a very sexy man. So, yeah. And I remember him saying that, or Robert Eggers talking about that too, about how even though Nosferatu is this disgusting monster, there is this subtle sexuality that he wanted Nosferatu to be able to exude that we could kind of understand, because that is how he makes connection with his victims. It's by, completely becoming, entranced. And in the original movies, they kind of make it look more like they're just under a spell. But in this one, it's like, we're going to utilize everything about the human condition that causes attachment, which includes sexuality. So I thought that was interesting that they showed being sexually attracted to a really horrible monster.
So all you ugly sad sacks out there listening, there's a chance.
There is hope.
There is a chance. Nosferatu took place today. Orlok would have a YouTube channel, and and show you how he does everything. And yeah, he'd be an influencer. He is an influencer.
He is an influencer.
Just different kind.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a demonic influencer. It's fine, you guys.
Open up my beer can.
You didn't do it right, bro.
Oh, yeah. That's
Here, I'll
right.
do it right for you again.
Dang. That is crisp.
ASMR. Yeah.
That is crisp. Like, we're going to take that soundbite and we're going to go into the old episodes and just replace it with that.
That's great. I mean, I was a Foley artist for your movies, so
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bill Skarsgård, fantabulous. Yep. I'm going to go with it.
That's a word.
Lily Rose, incredible. I want to talk about Willem Dafoe because he was in this film as well. He played basically this occult paranormal expert who in the film, the doctor really didn't know what to do about Ellen's condition. And so he just put her under ether the entire time and was like, well, she's just going to sleep until we figure this out.
I loved that was historically accurate.
Yes.
They're just like, yeah, she's shaking around everywhere. Did you try slapping her once or twice?
Yeah.
And they she's got too much blood.
Right,
so,
that was a thing.
Put some leeches on her and then tie a corset around her so that everything pools to, I mean, gosh.
Mm-hmm. Like that was what they did back then.
That was the real thinking.
Yeah. And so, Willem Dafoe's character, oh my gosh, his acting, it was just so much fun to watch. It was very theatrical, very stage-like. Like I felt like I was watching an actual theater play because of how just big and exuberant he was, which makes sense for his character because his character is also kind of kooky, because he's studying things outside of science, which really...
He also felt Sherlock Holmesy.
Yeah, very investigative.
Yeah, he's the investigator.
Mm-hmm.
And we're following him, and he's feeding us the clues and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's the one making the connections, and but his performance was just outstanding. I could have just watched Nosferatu told from his side of his perspective. I could watch that for hours. It was so entertaining.
Like a Pulp Fiction version of Nosferatu, where we see everyone's side of the story.
That'd be great. Oh,
and everything converges at the end.
That should be the director's cut.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, and then you're just seeing all these Nosferatu versions converge. You're like, oh, shoot, this is where everything gets together. Like, oh my gosh, everything's going to happen. And then out of nowhere, these two people stand up in a diner. Everybody be cool. This is a robbery.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a bloodletting. This is a blood sacrifice. Everyone go. Yeah. So that was really cool.
There was a lot of talk on the internet about his mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And
the handlebar.
So a lot of people complained about that. They're like, Nosferatu doesn't have a mustache. And I was like, you don't have a mustache, so shut up. And I watched the movie, and the first time you see that mustache, I'm like, yeah.
It works.
Yeah. I'm here for it. 100%, no complaints. He's killing it. You know what? Go back and digitally put a mustache on Pennywise. Yeah. That's...
Because again, they were designing the character because he was this, Bavarian...
Nobleman.
Who lived back then thousands... I don't know how long he was alive, but a long time ago. And so, they designed, and you notice his hair. He had that kind of German, comb over, not Hitler youth thing. I really want to say that because that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
It's coming
to
back.
Describe that haircut. Yeah. And so, but his hair was styled very specifically as well. His clothes, everything. Because, if you look at old paintings of noblemen back then in that area of the world, that's what they looked like. So yes, he's a monster, but he still has he's
a stylish monster.
He's a very stylish monster.
And the
he
thing
still
is,
gets with the fashions.
Yeah, we let stylish monsters get away with so much. Man.
Right. Why do you think he kept going for so long?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is that everybody saw him with that mustache. They saw him with that hair. And the problem is that when it was first announced that he was going to play Nosferatu, this picture started floating around the internet of him as Bill Skarsgård dressed as Nosferatu. I think it might be Photoshop, but he looks like Max Schreck from the original Nosferatu. And that was the picture that was making its way across the internet for like the last 3 years. And so because someone made this picture, so not only were people upset that he didn't look like Max Schreck, which some people were expecting, especially the SpongeBob fans, they were also expecting him to look like that Photoshop picture of him that was on the internet, you know?
Right.
I mean, it's this whole controversy that we're seeing this freaking week with this is going to date the podcast. The most recent episode of Invincible aired, and everyone was mad at the person who they got to play one of the villains in the season finale because someone on the internet used one of those TikTok AI voices to make the voice of the character, and everyone got used to that voice.
Right.
And they were mad at the person who actually played the character.
When it wasn't that voice.
Yeah. And I was like, you know who's playing that character? Freaking Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You couldn't get anyone better.
Yeah.
He's literally the best person for that freaking role. And you're mad at Jeffrey Dean Morgan? You know, grow up, dog.
Grow up.
Right. It reminds me
He
of
came
how...
down in a bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of petty as a society that way. It doesn't look like the way I wanted it to look.
I know.
I hate it. Yeah. So.
You sounded very English there for a second.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
cool.
A whiny little English.
A whiny little English girl.
Yeah. Speaking of whiny little English girls.
Lily Rose Depp. I'm kidding.
No. When he freaking just grabs those two little girls and sucks the life out of them like Oreos.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was very
Yeah. So there's these
jaw dropping.
Yeah. It's not Lily Rose Depp's friend, right? It's Renfield's friend.
It's Renfield's friend. They're like, they were all close.
They were like family
Yeah.
friends. They have two little girls. They're well-fed little girls.
Yes. They're very rich and it shows.
Yeah. these little
I can't blame Nosferatu for going after them first. That was ideal. Did you see how much blood they had? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's this part where Nosferatu comes in through their window and he's just like got these little girls by the skulls and you're just like, yes, this is so metal. And he's just sucking the life out of
Ozzy Osbourne biting the bat's head
that's
off.
what it looked like. And he just threw it into the audience.
Yeah.
You could hear people, even though there was a plague going on outside, you could hear people outside cheering. Like it was so cool.
Right. They weren't even disgusted. They were just amazed.
They were like, dang.
Okay, man. We see. Yeah. That was pretty shocking.
I'll follow him on tour.
Right. I'll follow him with this plague tour that he's doing. Yeah.
So what ends up happening is Renfield. Hutter.
You keep saying Renfield, but Renfield's not actually in this.
It's Hutter. You know what's really funny is he actually plays Renfield in the menu also.
No.
Okay.
And we're back.
Sorry. Did you see the menu? Okay.
I just watched it a few days ago again.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's fun.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Voldemort. I love watching Voldemort cook people.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
So what ends up happening is Hutter, that's the character's name in this movie. He goes to is it Transylvania? I thought it was.
Yes, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
There's a portion in the subtitles where it says the gypsies are speaking Hungarian.
Right.
So I wasn't 100% sure where everything takes place. And that was freaking weird when they're hanging out with the gypsies and they're doing their weird ritual sacrifices. And when he wakes up, the entire village is gone.
Yeah.
He's
got like mud at his feet as if he actually went and witnessed this sacrifice.
This bustling village. And when he wakes up, all gone.
Yeah.
And like all the like fire pits like have like little bits of smoke coming out of it and just the entire place abandoned.
Yeah,
so
they left.
He goes to meet Count Orlok and he thinks that he's signing a real estate deal. But what he's actually doing is he's signing a contract stating that he's giving up his wife.
And he doesn't catch it because the contract is written in old German, I'm guessing, which Count Orlok says was the language of his forefathers. So don't insult me by making me like translate this for you.
No, he got appled.
Yeah.
Didn't read the terms and conditions.
The terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Or Disney'd, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Freaking Disney. That's insane.
Yeah. So he ends up signing his wife away and makes it official.
But she has to agree.
Consent. She does have to consent.
She can't just give herself up. She has to say, I'm, choosing to dissolve my marriage.
Sure.
And now I come back to you.
So even in the 1800s, consent is still it's a thing.
Just a German.
German was ahead of the
Just
times. Yeah.
Otherwise, you were property.
Yeah.
So do we see Robert Eggers as his directing style? Do we see that in Nosferatu?
So much.
We watched The Lighthouse, and so talk about like the set design and how did he use sound and music and stuff? Did we see similarities?
Well, so something I noticed this time around is that he and his cinematographer really cranked it up to 11 on this one. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about camera movement.
Yes.
The Lighthouse is so subdued with its camera movement. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a fly on the wall. The camera's hardly ever moving. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of watching these guys go crazy. The camera is doing all these weird flips and tricks. I mean, it's
like Moulin Rouge.
Yes,
kind of similar to that.
Kind of like a dark,
that.
Mm-hmm, kind of like a dark Moulin Rouge. And one of the coolest things when I watched this, I was like, this was done on purpose. You don't do this on accident, especially someone like Robert Eggers and his cinematographer. But the way that the movie was shot, there's lots of color palettes that look just like the old movie. Mm-hmm. Because the old movie was shot on black and white, but black and white film back in the day, to make it look more interesting, you could add color to black and white film, but you can only add one color. Mm-hmm. So on night scenes...
Probably red.
You could add red. On night scenes, you would be blue. So you'd just be watching this black and white scene on a blue screen. Mm. And then, when they were in the castle, everything was orange. Mm. Because, why do you think everything was orange in the castle? Because they were using candlelight.
Oh, okay.
So that's why everything was orange. And so they would use these color palettes to signify, and they would use green whenever they were in Ellen's room.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they kept a lot of that, where they would have this singular color palette for different portions of the movie. There's a scene where the families are hanging out together and you're seeing the meaty little girls playing, and everything's orange.
Yeah.
Because they're in a house with candlelight.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was I was like, oh man, so smart.
Yes.
It looked absolutely beautiful.
So that's really thinking about detail.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The crossroads shot.
Yes.
Dear Lord.
Oh,
that is the most pure work of art I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Watching that for the first time, even, I was just jaw dropped. Like, what is this? I was telling the people I was with, I'm like, this is incredible. Oh my God, do you see this shot? Do you see this? Are you witnessing this? Oh my goodness. I freaked out, man.
Did they care? Where they were like, when's the vampire coming?
Right, they were Twilight fans.
You gonna buy somebody or what?
Where's the hot one at?
So what was it about the shot that you liked?
It's almost black and white, but just this blue wash over it. And the only thing that you can see clearly is the road. Mm-hmm. And so it's a straight, perfect road going all the way down. And then there's this other road that goes across, and it's making a cross on the screen.
Okay.
And then you can see trees for a little bit on the side, but then the trees get so dense that it's just black.
It's just an immense shot.
Yeah.
This is what Robert Eggers has to say about it. He said for this scene, they knew that it couldn't be anything less than perfect. They scouted out 6 locations over a 3-month period to find the perfect crossroads, and they finally found one that had straight paths, access for crane lighting, and just enough of a gap in the trees to allow for light while still being closed off for that ominous atmosphere. And he says, I decided to do the movie trick where they were both backlit and both directions are backlit. And then there's a balloon overhead to be there's a balloon right overhead to be the sky, and it's a sausage shape that fits in the gap of the trees. And that's what also lit tree trunks. He said it was a ton of work. But yeah, and so they were very careful about what they did for the moonlight and how to create a really good moonlight effect. They spent a lot of work on that.
As an independent filmmaker, moonlight is hard.
It's so hard.
It's very hard. It's, and shooting night for day is even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This was the movie that was shot on 35 millimeter black and white film. Oh, no, sorry, not black and white. It was shot on Kodak 35 millimeter. It was all shot on 500 ISO. So they thought about playing with different ISOs for different like interiors and exteriors.
Yeah.
But then they started to notice inconsistencies. So they were like, we're going to use the same film stock for every scene and we'll just light accordingly.
Okay.
So
to get the film's eerie moonlit look for the night scenes, the crew filmed the scenes during the day, and then in post-production ran it through a computer to remove the red and yellow color spectra.
Mm-hmm.
did you see Nope?
Yes. I think that's one we're supposed to talk about.
That's Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we had Nope was one of them we were going to talk about when we do him.
Yeah, but his cinematographer, Hoyt van Hoytema, they invented a new way of shooting day for night with an IMAX camera and an infrared camera at the same time.
Whoa.
And so it's 2 cameras shooting the same shot simultaneously. And it's shot during the day. And then when you piece the 2 films together, you're able to color correct it properly to give it that day for night. The set design, we had...
I think they used real castles, right?
They did, I think, for exterior shots. They found a particular castle I think that they really liked, but I think the interior shots were sets, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're so their sets and their locations, they were just about on location, I think. Do you remember where it was that this was shot? The Netherlands, I think.
Gosh, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. Another cool shot that just popped in my head is the ferry scene. There's a scene several times where different characters are taking a ferry to Orlok's new castle.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the first time, it's the crazy pigeon boy.
Right.
And he's taken the not casket, the coffin to the new castle.
Right.
And then the next time we see that shot, it's Willem Dafoe taking Hutter and the other doctor.
Right. Yeah.
He's in The Witch.
Right. Yeah.
And he's British, so he's got to be in a Harry Potter.
You would think so, right? Yeah, I think all of the UK was in.
Let's see if he's in Harry Potter.
He was.
Oh, nice.
Deathly Hallows. He was in Deathly Hallows. That's fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, good. Glad we confirmed that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was beautiful. The way that the light glistens off the water and they're just gently going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, some really, really beautiful shots in this movie. I was so impressed. The color was beautiful.
Yeah.
The shots were beautiful. It was shot on those super Baltar lenses. A lot of times now, the Baltar lenses, I don't think you can get them in the original housing. The cameras that used to use the Baltar lenses are no longer made. So what people are doing is they're finding these old Baltar lenses and they're rehousing them and putting them in modern bodies. So you have these modern bodies that go on new cameras.
Right.
But it's the old glass that is still inside the lens. And it gives you that vintage look. And the lens you were talking about from the Lighthouse, I looked it up. Yeah. And I knew it sounded familiar. I just couldn't remember why. And the lens that they used was chosen because it gives you like a swirly effect in the bokeh, in the background.
Okay.
So kind of like a weird swirly dream.
Kind of adds to that craziness.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Right. Oh, yeah. People use it, a lot of filmmakers use it for like dream sequences.
Oh, okay.
Which, if you look at The Lighthouse, you could call that whole...
The whole movie a dream sequence.
Yeah, the whole movie a dream sequence.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we find out that he never actually went to the island. He's laying on a gurney in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
The whole movie's just in his head.
We find out that the island is actually a peninsula.
Yeah. And that he was the one who actually killed his wife, and that his partner was actually his doctor.
I love that show.
Right. Oh,
yeah, and we talked about how amazing Lily Rose Depp was. So freaking good.
She's a fantastic. And I like the writing for this movie was absolutely fantastic too. Like it was really, not to like sound uneducated, but it really sounded very Shakespearean in the way that Shakespeare like is so good with wordsmithing to get these sharp points across that just comes up throughout the entire film. And the wording is just so beautiful. And
you know what? I was watching this and I was like, this does not sound like modern English,
mm-hmm.
but this does not sound like The Lighthouse.
Right. Yeah.
They're two completely different eras.
Very different dialects.
And so, you're hearing different words and,
mm-hmm.
and Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie.
Oh, yes.
I was watching him and I was like, okay, yeah, he's doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's one scene where I was like, whoa. And it's the funeral scene.
Yes. Oh,
when
man.
he like lunges at Lily Rose Depp and he's screaming at her and his voice cracks. I was like,
you feel
it. Gosh, dude. I was like,
yeah. Even in the carriage right after that, where he's just like, I'm not in my right mind. Like you feel that. You
did such a good job.
His grief. Yeah.
I've never really seen anything of his and any of his big stuff, I don't think I've seen. And any of his small stuff, I was like, okay, whatever. He never really was anything particularly stand out to me.
He was so hot as Craven.
What's the plot of that movie? You don't remember, do you?
Shirtless.
Yeah. I don't even think the people that wrote that movie know what the plot is.
No, they didn't. No, the writing was really bad in Craven, actually. It was terrible. But it didn't really matter.
You know how that movie got made? The script took its shirt off.
Right.
Yeah. So,
that was it. That's a movie.
Yep, we got it. It's in the can. So, sound design. We talked about Skarsgård's voice.
Mm-hmm. Was real.
Yeah.
100% real the whole time.
Oh, gosh.
The ragged breath I liked in between his sentences was incredible.
I was just like, please, just once in this movie, just... I just want him to pull out an inhaler and just take a puff off of it. But,
I was like, can someone get this man a glass of water?
But yes, and I was like, maybe like he's weak right now, and as the movie progresses, like he'll get better. No, he was that way the entire movie,
which I guess kind of makes sense because if you're dead.
Yeah.
Your lungs probably don't work very well.
Yeah, just
the breathing mechanisms just ain't it,
you're just a corpse. Not really
I'm surprised
doing much.
He was breathing, really. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, that attention to detail. Again, good job. Brilliant. Bill Skarsgård.
He's got those hellhounds that follow him around. And I guess that's kind of a testament to sound design because I don't remember seeing them much.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing them a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So their presence simply by hearing it.
Yeah. And something that the closed captioning pointed out to me.
I love good closed captioning.
That when they're wading through like the puddle of rats, which is also a really cool band name. they're going through, and you just like the closed captioning just says squeaking, and then he like brushes past a rat, and the closed captioning, I swear, said offended squeak. just the rat was like, excuse me, sir,
I'm walking here.
Yeah. I'm walking here.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Just because I only lived 2 years, you got to be a jerk about it. They're all from Brooklyn, by the way.
They're all right. They
all rats descend from Brooklyn rats.
Right.
That's scientifically proven.
right, they went from America to old Germany. Yeah.
Trust me, guys, it'll be worth it. You're gonna love it here.
Yeah.
Tony, you ever had a pretzel? All right.
They kind of did
Shut the
like
bit
good
down.
like horror sound design, I think, for this film, where they didn't have really jump scares, but like
I don't remember a single jump scare.
Yeah, there was like shocking sudden moments that were amplified with sound, and
especially
then anything,
the Lily Rose scenes.
Yeah.
Where anytime because she's not really making noise for any of her.
It's
like,
very restrained vocals, like
yeah.
yeah.
But the music.
Oh man, the music really.
You know, and I was thinking, I was like, we were talking about sound design, and then I got to thinking about music, and I was like, I don't remember much music. But now that we're talking about it, I do. I remember the music. Anytime she was having one of her scenes, that's when the music was just
right.
You know,
I know,
and it really amplified.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I know. I remember only. I'm kicking myself for not doing more research on the music. Oh, I'm a musician. What the heck?
Yeah,
I was so focused on the visual aspect of this film that really overtook everything.
I was too.
Yeah.
And I have an excuse because I do cinematography.
Right.
But if Alec watched this, I would expect Alec to pay attention to. I bet he did. I bet Alec took some sound notes.
Sure.
Yeah, but like the music was, you could tell it had this nostalgic early film era kind of style to it, very romanticized, very like, but at the same time modernized with how today's horror films are, where it's more used to kind of more used as like sound design as well. But there are, moments like when there's traveling, you can hear kind of the tension from these minor key melodies that are played and stuff like that. And so there was some romanticism to the score, but yeah, in those like possession scenes, definitely you hear a lot of that classic horror film sort of scoring. But that's really all I remember about it musically, which again, I feel really bad to admit, but
we might have to go back and check out that soundtrack.
We're going to have to do another bit about, just the music. Yeah.
Do like an appendix.
Yeah.
On this episode.
Right.
Usually music for that sort of thing is kind of building up a little bit. It's kind of leading you up into some sort of tense type of situation.
Communicates like kind of the creepiness of stuff. But there are also a lot of scenes where there was none. Like when, I'm pretty sure there wasn't any music when
the Crossroads.
Was there?
There was no music.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And same thing with when Nicholas Hoult was meeting with Nosferatu. I don't think there was music that whole scene.
And even that in itself can be a little bit disturbing.
Yeah.
When things are just
pure
silent.
silence.
Right.
That's even scarier.
A testament to pure silence working for a film is Paranormal Activity.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen it.
Paranormal Activity was horrifying.
We watched that together.
Yeah. Yeah. I still.
It's found footage, and there's absolutely no music
at all. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing about found footage too. I'm going to have to come back and do a found footage movie thing. That would be really fun.
Yeah. Talk about found footage.
Because I can go on for days. Yeah. So.
Well, we only have an hour.
That's true. That's true. Dang it. 10-parter.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's true. No music really amps up.
And that's the thing
tension.
Is that because of it, there's no music in Paranormal Activity, that you have no idea when those jump scares are coming.
At all.
So you are tense all the time.
Right.
You are 100% on guard.
That's funny.
Yes.
Because we've been conditioned in horror movies specifically
Yeah, when you hear that build up,
the build up.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's getting higher, and you're
it's
like,
the
okay, we're
same
getting
thing.
closer.
It's the same thing. It gets build. I guess it's not gonna.
Yeah.
And then it gets you.
Right. That's the formula. Yeah, exactly.
So we always talk about other characters that were slated for the positions. Harry Styles
What?
was originally cast in the lead role,
What?
and
Wow.
Anya Taylor-Joy
That makes sense.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Who is
was
that?
The
supposed
menu.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
was supposed to be the Lily Rose Depp.
Got it.
They weren't even going to send the camera people home. They were just going to start building the sets around the menu. Yeah.
They're just going to stay there. Leave everything there. Yeah.
Renfield, don't move. We're doing another one.
No, you don't have to change clothes.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Voldemort, you want to stick around?
Right. You can play Nosferatu.
Okay, we'll get the clown.
I'll get the clown. They're all from Brooklyn. They're rats.
Why's the rat directing the movie? Send him home. Get him out of here.
Which I also read about those rats. They went to Juilliard with the seagulls.
Seagulls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
They were
goodness.
also in the same classes.
Robert Eggers has like hookups, man,
Yeah.
to these classically trained animals. That's incredible.
But the problem is that the rats do a 2-year program, so you only got like another 3 weeks out of them before. Oh, man. I miss my rats.
That's right.
Um,
We need to hurry. They're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Alec if he noticed anything about the sound design for Nosferatu, and he said Nosferatu is a silent film.
Oh my god.
He watched the wrong one.
Win, Alec. Beautiful. That's beautiful. He could do stand up with that joke. That's good. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Oh,
Ugh.
nice.
That's awesome.
So Anya Taylor-Joy was originally thought of or actually cast?
Originally cast for these lead roles.
Oh,
Styles
dang.
dropped out due to scheduling conflict.
Oh, I'm
and
so glad.
let's see. Taylor-Joy dropped out later because she was filming Mad Max. Furiosa.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Lily Rose Depp took over.
Gotcha. Dang. I'm so glad she did because, oh my gosh, she like got initiated into like the Scream Queen club
Just
like
from this movie.
for this movie. Yeah. I hope she does more horror in the future because she would be just
This was like
excellent.
her first big thing.
It
She was
was,
kind of
yeah.
just like, you know,
She wasn't really in much before
in doing
this.
stuff. She did a lot of side character stuff for Kevin Smith
right
because she was friends with Harley Quinn Smith.
Okay.
So that's also why Johnny Depp shows up in a lot of Kevin Smith movies, almost always in makeup. You almost never recognize
right.
that
You
it's
never
him.
see. Yeah. I was a little bit, because I'm a human and I judge people, right?
Mhm.
That's what we do with our spare time.
Sure.
When I saw a Lily Rose Depp, and I was like, is this like nepotism? Right?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I was proven very wrong and that she absolutely deserved this role.
I think we're in a different era. The children of actors. I was going to say Nepo baby, but I'm going to change my wording because I think a couple years ago, they were Nepo babies. And I think that the internet is so aware of them now.
Yes.
And that children of famous actors are also aware of Nepo babies. That they're just like, all right, I cannot coast. I have to come out swinging.
I've got to earn it. Yeah.
So we got this performance from Lily Rose Depp. We got everything that freaking Jack Quaid is doing.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's killing it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He's
Yeah,
doing a great job.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I guess that's kind of the beautiful thing about having everything now be published on the interwebs is that makes us very vigilant as fans. And as soon as one thing goes wrong, it is out there. We are discussing it. We're talking about it. And so that is kind of a little hidden blessing about socials.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
Patrick Schwarzenegger is almost there. Almost.
Yeah.
I think
He's coming around.
there's one big role waiting for him.
Yeah.
And then that's what's going to break him through.
Yeah.
But the thing is he's not an action star.
Right.
He's not a big, muscly,
He's not his dad.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
So he's got to find a different lane.
Right.
And when he does, it's going to
work for him.
He's going to nail it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else about Nosferatu?
I do have closing statements to say about Nosferatu.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. So it's really interesting because it kind of speaks to really the whole genre of horror, my own personal reasons for enjoying horror films. Because I think everybody who does like horror are outcasts to a degree, like in a social sense.
Like comedians.
Like comedians. Oh, yes. There's not a single comedian who is good at social stuff.
Or anything else.
Anything, yeah. And so, yeah. And so with horror film, I remember, because like I always felt that way growing up, that like, I was too different from everybody else and really couldn't always make a very deep connection. I think that's why Tabor and I are very good friends, because we were just both weirdos.
Yeah.
And like watching.
Yeah, that's okay.
A tear rolls down his cheek.
None taken.
There's another therapy session.
That's right. Add that to your list of things to talk about on your BetterHelp.
I know.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Someday. Every other podcast is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just recovering from the mental blow I took from the Derek Hayden episode.
Oh, jeez. I bet that was a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so like, I just love this movie a lot because that's kind of what it focuses on. It focuses on a woman who has never fit in with her society, for multiple reasons. And one line that I love is something that Willem Dafoe says to her, like in a different life, a different time period, you would have been a priestess, but because you're born here in this time, you're seen as mad. And I'm like, gosh, if that doesn't ring true for anybody who has never felt like they belonged in their time period, in their culture, their society, or something like that. And so I really thought that the theme of that going across the entire movie was so beautiful and so relatable. Like the teenage me, if the teenage me watched this movie, oh my gosh, I would become one of those hot topic vampire freaks.
Your Trapper Keeper would be so vandalized.
Yeah, I would have Sharpied that thing up so bad. Put the safety pins in and razor blades.
Just imagine how all the Twilight girls would look at you. You're just like, you guys are back on the wrong vampire.
Yeah, this is the wrong vampire. Yeah. Right. I've got just like these hearts drawn around like Bill Skarsgård's Nosferatu's face. His little spiny, like jutting bones. And I'm just like, yes.
I was the only girl in my sophomore class that was wearing Team Orlok t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was great. So this movie was really nice. It gave me like a nice kind of emotional place to escape to and kind of recall. I'm like, yeah, this is why I love horror, is because, yeah, it's as weird as I am. So.
Well, every episode except the Derek Hayden episode, we like to rate.
I don't know what happened there, but
yeah, we were off our game. It's okay.
It was his eyes. I could not focus on his eyes. I lost everything.
So we try to come up with a rating system, but just everybody screws it up, especially Alec.
So like if I was going to talk about The Lighthouse and rate it 1 to 10, I'd probably rate The Lighthouse for me, because it's really not my kind of movie, but I thought it had a lot to it. I'd probably give it a solid 4.5 Defoes. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm for this. This is good.
I'd give it 7.5 seabirds. So what does that equal? Like, are they comparable?
Are they dead seabirds, or are they still alive?
Right.
One of the seabirds is dead. The others are still okay. So is the dead seabird weighted differently?
I've got an app on my phone that translates seabirds to Defoes.
Okay. So I'd say,
That's good.
7.5 seabirds.
Nice.
They're 7.5 because one of them doesn't have the eye.
The eye. Oh, right. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably give it like 6 glasses of turpentine wine. So
6 glasses of turpin wine.
Turpin wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, who even knows what that really was? They could have been drinking
I'm
anything.
100% positive it was turpentine. I remember looking at the label because I was like, what is that? I know it's a chemical of some kind, but I'm pretty sure I saw the word turpentine on the label. So I'm like, oh my goodness, they're that desperate.
Yeah.
Which again, alcoholics sometimes.
What are we giving?
I can't rate Nosferatu because
Oh,
I
that's
haven't
right.
watched
He
it
hasn't
yet.
No
seen
skin
it.
in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give it 7 Renfield for good measure.
Oh my gosh.
I think, honestly, for Nosferatu, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 rolling eyes in the back of the head possession.
Jeez.
10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved
Holy
it, man.
mackerel.
I really didn't find anything wrong with it. So yeah, I really love this
This is
movie.
one you're buying on 4K, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
On 4K, $20 on YouTube. I'm doing it.
Nice. Well done.
That's awesome.
All right. Well,
So I got to go feed the cats.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Prince
yeah.
is, I guess, beating the crap out of Binks right now. So,
They're having cat fights.
so I got to go take care of that. So you guys can finish this up. Becca, it was awesome having you
It
on the
was
show.
great to be here. This
Yeah,
is so
so-
much fun. Thank you.
Jeez, do you hear him?
Oh, they're at it.
Oh, yeah. All right. I guess we're going to settle this. All right. So we'll go ahead and, Becca, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll definitely,
Thank you so much.
We'll definitely have you back. This was a blast.
Yeah.
I hope so.
All
Thank
right,
you.
everybody. We'll catch you next time.
And we're gone.
How do I turn off this thing?
Thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We had a lot of fun creating it, and we hope you enjoyed it.
For more content, please check us out at Facebook and YouTube at My Dad's Movie Podcast, or visit our website, mydadsmoviepodcast.com.
And always, if you'd like to help support us, please check out our Patreon at My Dad's Movie Podcast.
Thanks for listening, everybody.